So I wanted to start off this video with a quote by one of the most intelligent men, I would say, one of the most intelligent presidents of the United States ever, John F. Kennedy. If by a liberal they mean someone who looks ahead and not behind, someone who welcomes new ideas without rigid reactions, someone who cares about the welfare of the people, their health, their housing, their schools, their jobs, their civil rights, their civil liberties, someone who believes we can break through the stalemate and suspicions that grip us in both our policies abroad, and if that is what they mean by a liberal, then I'm proud to say I'm a liberal. Now, that singular quote from JF Kennedy is exactly how I personally feel when I call myself politically a liberal, because it can also be described as a left winger, someone that can, kind of, steer left politically. But I always feel like that JFK quote is quite a powerful quote, and it's quite a powerful quote that I use regularly to sort of describe my kind of support of being a liberal and why I am a liberal, because I believe that someone should have the collective freedom to be who they want to be, and should it also suggests someone free from prejudice or narrow thinking, and that's what being a liberal is. It's looking towards the future. It's looking towards a better tomorrow, and that's how I feel why I usually vote left, because when I first voted in an election, I voted for the Green Party. It wasn't a national election, but it was a local election in London. I actually voted for the Green Party because I felt like their views better reflected mine. But now that I'm no longer the age of 16 and I sort of understand where my political beliefs stand, I know exactly which political party I support that have sort of the liberal views. And many would say New Labour, under kind of the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn here in the UK, is definitely reflective of that. And I do actually understand some of his kind of policies, and I believe in some of his policies. But I'm also tolerant of the views of, say, the Conservatives, who I don't really like David Cameron or George Osborne. But I kind of see the Conservative belief system as having some point of view. That's what being a liberal is. It's being someone, like I said once again, suggests someone that is free from prejudice or narrow thinking about their political beliefs and how they approach both life and the world. And, many people on the right side of things, like conservatives or right wingers, may look at a liberal like me and go, and may have this conjured up piece of kind of perception of what a liberal is, which is usually a pot smoking, nothing happening, kind of hippie kind of personality, which is something that has been portrayed in media by particularly right wing papers, um, particularly in the field of study that I'm involved in, which is journalism. you know, Liberals, in particularly conservative supported papers, don't really get looked upon with a great deal of respect. And I feel like that's very, very, very wrong. But I feel like that's why, as someone that's going into journalism, I have such a love for The Guardian or Vice or any of those other publications, because I feel like they represent more of my political beliefs than, say, other newspapers or whatever. But I feel like the term liberal defies me due to the fact that, in my normal day life, I'm actually quite a kind of kind, thoughtful. I usually, show no prejudice towards people, whether that be race or sexual preference. I respect everyone's belief system, and I'm someone who, I favour, definite freedom over the kind of control that we've been getting from some, governmental entities in the past, I would say, decade or so. But like I said, that's why I define myself as a liberal, and I feel like that JFK quote is definitely very evident of that. You're going to ask what party in the next election I'm probably going to vote. Well, seeing in the current political climate here in the UK, I'm probably going to go with Labour. I feel like Jeremy Corbyn's, as much as many of the people in the UK look down upon him due to the fact he isn't a very typical kind of political figure. He's not very nicely dressed or in a suit. His policies are pretty sound and definitely benefit the working class and definitely benefit, definitely my kind of left wing political views. But on the same time, I could consider, the Green Party, but obviously they don't really factor in because they're not one of the three or four main parties in the UK that can actually make a difference in parliamentary elections. But like I said, that's why I'm a liberal. And that JFK quote is exactly why I made this video, because it kind of clarifies to people why I support myself as a liberal. You know, I want to tolerate, I don't tolerate intolerance, which is another thing that should actually be something you look upon as a liberal. You shouldn't tolerate, you shouldn't be tolerable of everything. You should stand up and fight for what you believe in, but also have the calmness and understanding to understand that people have, have belief systems that really, really, really support their own well-being. You should understand the belief systems of others. It doesn't mean being left-wing. It's just a belief system that is someone who favours freedom instead of who favours freedom in all walks of life, whether it be religion or politics. And that's exactly why I define myself as a liberal. So guys, thanks for watching this video. I understand that it's brief, but I feel like this is a very kind of straight ahead video that I need to tell you about my political beliefs. You feel free to discuss with me down below. Go down below and just help me out with it. So I'll see you later, and thanks.